Hi, everyone. Welcome to the quick hit version of a new admin's roadmap to success. This is going to be a high-level overview of the admin onboarding playbook that is relevant to both new app managers and new account admins, but mostly targeting folks that have recently inherited an application, a suite of applications, or even an entire Quickbase account, and you're just trying to figure out what to do next. My name is Marissa Newmeyer, and I'm a customer success manager here at Quickbase. I've been with the company since the opening of our West Coast office in Salt Lake City just over 2.5 years ago. I've had the opportunity to work with a number of clients that range from small businesses whose businesses have boomed after automating their processes within Quickbase, and also enterprise companies that have hundreds of applications and builders across the world. For this session, I'm going to provide an overview of how you can develop a framework to take ownership of Quickbase and become an effective admin, whether it's for a single application or an entire account. And we're going to talk about the steps you can take to understand your company's use of Quickbase. And lastly, just really get you on a successful path moving forward. As I mentioned, this is going to provide a summarized overview for the new admin's journey on Quickbase, and you can reference the physical playbook that I'm about to introduce you to for full steps and deeper detail. In addition, if you want to attend the full-length version for an even deeper dive, I will include information for that course at the end of this deck. Before we dive in, there's a playbook that everyone should have access to so you can follow along with this presentation. If you haven't had a chance to look at it yet, don't worry, I've got you covered. I included this handy QR code on the slide, so you can just pull it right up with your cell phone. If you have an iPhone, you can just view the QR code through your camera app and it will automatically suggest the link. Or you can also find this workbook included in the Empower Resources Hub as well. I would suggest downloading a copy for yourself and keeping this in a safe place to reference throughout your accidental admin journey. The playbook I just mentioned is broken up into 30-day periods, so everything is just a bit more digestible. And that's exactly what this session will follow. Keep in mind that these timeframes can fluctuate, so this is just a benchmark for that timeframe. There are going to be 4 phases that we'll review during the quick hit today, and those are getting control, getting clear, getting creative, and staying current. First up, we have getting control. This phase is going to be all about getting a grasp of Quickbase at a high level, and it's going to help ease you into how to gain control over your newly formed responsibilities. In this phase, we'll focus on the following areas. First, learning the Quickbase product, and then also gaining an understanding of your account. For example, getting to know your Quickbase account from a commercial or a business perspective, knowing and understanding the resources available to you in the event that you encounter roadblocks or you need additional education, understanding how to manage your Quickbase account for both current and future state operations, and getting to know the applications that exist within your current account so you can begin to prioritize and plan futures for each application. In your workbook, there's an overall training and education plan on page 5. During this session, I'll summarize over the course of 30-day increments, but has been fully consolidated in the playbook. As showcased here, for the first 30 days, we recommend courses under the orientation, app planning, and account admin modules. If you're an app manager, all of this is designed to help you learn the Quickbase product. And if you're owning an entire Quickbase account, the admin topics will be very important to you as well. Second is getting to know your key players. In other words, who at Quickbase can help you. The playbook has descriptions of each of these roles on page 7 if you want more information, but I will go ahead and cover these at a high level. First, it's important to understand who your contacts at Quickbase are so that you can leverage them to help you through this transition of your new Quickbase responsibilities. Some of those immediate contacts are your Quickbase account team, who ensures your success on the platform. We'll cover how you can see who your account team is on the next slide. Then also we have the Quickbase care team for those tactical questions that might pop up along your journey. We have QSPs or Quickbase service partners if you'd like to hire someone to help develop applications for you. And then last but certainly not least, we have the Quickbase community where you can ask questions to thousands of Quickbase gurus and hear how others are solving similar issues themselves. If you're looking to self-serve, we also have a number of online resources that can help you as well. That includes our online help guide, Quickbase University, our blog, and then additional customer events such as Empower. In your first 30 days, if you're the account owner, you'll definitely want to get set up in the account admin console. Once you are in here, this is the page you'll land on within the admin console. This section shows you the fundamental information about all your account information and your service plan. So right here, the account info section, this is going to show you your account name, your account plan, your billing contact, and your default time zone. The purchase and use section right here is going to display the usage and your purchased user license. Oh my goodness. Your purchased user licenses, app space, and attached file space that are included with your Quickbase plan. And last, you'll see a summary of your Quickbase account team. There we go. This will always include an account executive, and you may also have a customer success manager depending on the service plan your account has purchased. If you have any questions about the entitlements you find on this page, you can always contact your account team and they're more than happy to help. Another key component to being a successful account admin is knowing your apps. On the apps menu, you'll see that every application that exists within your account. You'll see how many users have been invited to each of these applications, the app space, file attachment space, and the amount of APIs that are being used, and who is the app manager, and of course, much more information here as well. You may be asking, why is this section important? Well, it's going to help you to prioritize which apps you tackle first. What app has the most users? What app has been most recently accessed? What app hasn't been modified in a long time? Those are probably the apps you should focus on understanding first. And in page 11 of your workbook, there's going to be a worksheet that can be used as a framework to help prioritize your Quickbase apps. We've covered the first 30 days. Congratulations. The full 30-day checklist can be found in the playbook, but at a high level, you should have completed the orientation, app planning, and account admin modules in Quickbase University. You should understand the commercial side of your account, who your account team is, how to open a care case, and how to manage users within your Quickbase account. And last, you should have looked through your applications to identify the highest priority apps and create a plan for the future of each of those applications. All right, the second 30-day phase, so days 30 through 60, we're focusing on getting clear. You now have control over your account. In the second phase, you're really going to focus on understanding your apps and why they exist. If you're following along in your workbook, this section starts on page 12. In this phase, we'll focus on the following areas. Continuing your Quickbase education, you'll notice that this is going to be consistent throughout all the phases. You're learning new things every day, but at this point, you'll be considered the expert of your Quickbase applications. Your users, your builders will come to you when they have questions. Back in phase 1, we identified a handful of some of those priority applications. And during phase 2, we'll be working to gain an understanding of why the app was created in the first place, what was the original problem it was solving, how is the app structured, and how is the app being used, and is it still bringing value to your organization? For phase 2 of your education plan, we're highlighting some of the fundamental courses under the app building module, as well as some of the courses under the app management module. At this point, you'll probably know if you're the type of person that likes or doesn't like these training modules. If the pre-recorded training videos work well for you, great, keep it up. If not, that's totally okay. And that's why I want to highlight this new yellow section. This is where we offer our free live online training. If you just go right in here, you can just click on this section and it'll bring up all of the schedule for our training team, and you can sign up for any of the webinars that are offered. And then in the bottom left-hand corner in purple, you might also notice that Empower is listed here as well. If you ever want to take a look at the full-length version of this session, this is where you can do it. So getting clear on your apps. You have a list of priority apps at this point. Now you need to understand them. So working off your prioritized apps, you should understand 3 basic questions. First, what's the app's original design intent? What's the app's architecture? And how are people using the app? For this condensed session, we're going to focus on helping you learn how the app is being used within your organization, but you're more than welcome to refer to the playbook for details on the other items on this list. Right, how are people using the app? The first thing I look at is the user menu within an application. Here, you can see all the roles that exist within this app. It might look something like this example you see right here. But you'll want to determine if the roles within your company align with the roles of the people using this application. If all of your customer success managers are using the team member role, for example, maybe it makes sense to rename that role to customer success managers. Cleanup like this is going to help when assigning new people to this application in the future. So in this example, it has 4 roles, but you might have an app that has more, like 50. Not to worry though, you don't need to look into every single role on that list. If your app has a lot of roles, take a look at the Users tab. You can use a few of the filters to easily identify which of these roles is most actively being used, and then just focus on the most assigned roles. So next, you'll want to talk to at least one person from each role, but it's not a bad idea to get a couple of users together at once to discuss the use of the app too, just as depicted here in this photo. When you meet with user, make it a goal to understand how the app is being used, identify ways the app could be improved, and even watch them navigate the app. You might find that the app is not quite as useful as they might think it is. If part of the process is exporting into Excel, manipulating that data, and then re-importing it back to Quickbase, well, there's certainly ways the app can be improved to cut out the exporting step. If you go to page 17 of your workbook, there's also a list of other sample questions you can ask your interviewees as well. And in addition, an extra bonus is that you might even find a partner in crime along your journey. So this can help you to identify who else can help you in your Quickbase journey, who's naturally curious about Quickbase. Bring them on board. At the end of your 60 days or 100 days, however long it takes, nobody's judging you, I promise. You are going to know your Quickbase fundamentals and you understand your most used apps. Now comes the really fun part. You have a good understanding of Quickbase, the design intent of your apps, and phase 3 is all about getting creative. This phase starts on page 16 of the workbook. First, you're going to learn some of the more advanced functionality in Quickbase with our intermediate and advanced courses. Second, you're going to assess your applications. We know how they exist today, but what is the ideal state? How can we make the experience better for our end users? End user adoption is key to a successful app, so that's the area I'm really going to focus on for this session today. This phase is really about taking ownership. Up until this point, it's been about what other people have done, how other people are using the app, but now it's your turn. Your turn to take ownership and make the app more valuable for your end users. During this phase, we're going to want you to get through the remaining app building module and finish up those courses within there. Then you can start to dive into the data integration module. Start thinking about other systems that are used at your company. What information in those other platforms would be valuable in your Quickbase application? There's likely a way to get it there, especially with our recent addition of Quickbase pipelines. And last but not least, test your abilities by taking the free practice exam. Even if you don't pass the practice test the first time, it'll give you a better idea of what areas you can focus on to refine your skills. Now that you've done your interviews and are in the process of gathering feedback, how can we incorporate that into making a better app for our users? If you please your end users, you'll likely have a much easier time getting buy-in and adoption. Make it easy to use. The more it's being used, the more complete the data will be. So Looking at the feedback you gathered during your interviews, what are small modifications that we can add to delight our end users? Which are quick and easy wins that will likely increase usage or adoption? An example of some easy delighters: adding additional reports, updating dashboards. You can even customize these per role. You can update forms to only show fields that pertain to one role and another form that shows fields that might pertain to another role. Implement a feedback loop. This can be as easy as creating a table on each one of your apps where users can enter feedback about the app. And this is where users can log improvements they'd like to see, or just log what they don't like about the app and what they would like to see improved in the future. Or if you want a pre-built application, you could just have the entire app dedicated to end user feedback. So this is an overview of an application one of our implementation consultants developed to give customers an easy way to solicit end user feedback. This app is going to provide you with a framework for tracking and managing end user feedback for one app or even across the sprawling app ecosystem. If you're interested in using this app for your own user feedback, or even just as a reference tool for creating your own, feel free to download this right from the Quickbase Exchange and make it your own. We've come to the end of 90 days. You've now completed the majority of Quickbase University. Congrats if you've also become certified. If you put in all the effort to learn the material, there's really no reason why you shouldn't pass the certification test. Give it a shot. From the feedback you've gathered from your stakeholders and end users, you'll be able to decide the state of your priority apps and whether they require adjustments, if changes are needed, or if there are easy delighters that can be implemented, and you created a plan for changes or rebuilds that are required. Lastly, you've done some additional research to assess new functionality, which I'm about to touch on now. Congratulations, we've made it through 90 days in about 15 minutes. So what's next? Well, continuing with the theme, we're going to want to stay current. So keep that toolkit sharp. There are a number of resources that can be utilized for continued learning. These are just a handful of quick suggestions, but you can find a more detailed list on page 21 of your workbook. Last, you're going to want to start putting some processes into place. I would suggest connecting with your Quickbase account team if you want ideas on how to move forward, and also check out page 21 of your workbook for more details. Again, this is just a brief overview on steps you can take, but some examples of processes you can either put into place is regularly conducting application assessments to determine whether an app needs updates. You can start building out your internal Quickbase team to help manage your company's applications. There's more power in numbers. You can stay up to date on product improvements. Quickbase has a monthly release of new features. I would suggest either subscribing to the updates so you're first to know when those updates go live, or you can just check back on the website often for those updates. For staying knowledgeable on the product, I mentioned certification a number of times in this session, but I'm not done just yet. You'll see in this section this subtle highlighting of the continued education plan. So there are going to be 2 tracks for certification: App Builder and then also the Expert Builder certification. Both of these are crucial for staying sharp in Quickbase. You're going to want to maintain that certification after you have it. So keep up to date with those new features and functions in Quickbase. Participate in Quickbase continuing education courses. For example, webinars, user groups, etc. That's all going to give you credit towards your following year's certification. And we always have the live training available for you as well. There's always advanced options that are added on the schedule. So check back for those regularly and join them when you can. To stay informed on the product, like I mentioned, subscribe to the monthly release notes. For your apps and accounts, put a plan into place. How often should you be assessing those apps? Create a feedback loop. Document what you have learned in your workbook and those changes that you make in Quickbase. Make sure to include those in your workbook as well. And then continue building value within Quickbase. Build new apps. Bring someone along for the ride. Give them their own copy of a workbook. Sign up for next year's Empower or other regional events. Learn more and meet more Quickbase builders, which can help inform your own applications. And don't forget that you're never on this journey alone. Quickbase is a fantastic and powerful tool, but it can appear overwhelming at times. Your Quickbase account team is always there to partner with you in your journey, so I would encourage you to take advantage of their knowledge and expertise by letting them help with your success strategy. We're here to support you and always happy to help point you in the right direction. And in case you're interested in more detail available in the full length session, you can scan the QR code or head over to Empower 2020 section in Quickbase University to take a peek. There's also a lot of super helpful detail included in your new admin playbook. So I would encourage you to not only read over that during your journey, but take notes of what you learn and refer back to it often. And that's everything. Thank you.